Well, thank you, Amy and John. I appreciate you both being here with me today. I just want to share with our audience your transformation. You both reached out to our team when you were struggling with anxiety and depression. You've now come through this beautiful journey and are living a very different life. And so I just want to inspire our audience for what's available to them. I know that as they are taking a look at what's available, looking for solutions for anxiety and depression, there's a lot of different things out there. There's a lot of confusing messages about what's available, what's not available, what's possible, what's not possible. And so I hope to clear some of that up with our audience today to just say, hey, healing is possible. Complete healing is possible, but you got to do it in a good approach. You've got to be able to have a solid strategy behind you in order to do that. And so I just want to, again, inspire our audience about what's possible and help them to see that our approach to achieve emotional mastery actually works, as you both are living, breathing testimonies of a real transformation. And so again, thank you guys so much for being here. So where I want to start is, why did you want to overcome anxiety and depression in the first place? Like, what was the motivating factor here?
I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I just felt that it was time for me to make a change in my life. I couldn't go on living the way I was living, and the way it affected my loved ones too. So I decided to take the plunge and sign up for Achieve Emotional Mastery.
That's good. And for you, Amy?
Well, I like him. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. Absolutely, for sure. And I was functioning. I was going to work every day and doing what I had to do, but I wasn't doing it great. I just had gotten to where if I had even minimal stress, I would just melt down. And in a stressful job, you can't just melt down. That's not acceptable. And with dealing with the church body, you can't just melt down, I mean, you want people to see who you really are, but you still have to be strong.
Thank you for that vulnerability, Amy. I know that's tough. And that's exactly right, showing up. And I noticed, John, that you were nodding your head as you're talking about stress. That triggered, what was coming up for you as you heard that part?
Just all the stressful situations that I go through on a daily basis, but stressors that I used to be able to deal with head on and they were no big deal, started to become overwhelming. I mean, we're talking minimal stressors. Yes. Would become overwhelming, like the straw that broke the camel's back, and then the floodgates would open up. So I knew I needed help. I couldn't manage this on my own anymore.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Thank you. And so before Achieve Emotional Mastery, what were some of the biggest challenges that were preventing you from healing?
Well, mindset for sure. And my relationship with Jesus, I was fully aware that it wasn't where it needed to be. That's another reason I reached out to you, because it's part of your program.
That's good. That is so interesting, John, that you recognize that as you reached out. Many people are like, it's not on their radar as they come on in. Like I don't often hear that as a motivating factor, as people like recognize, oh my goodness, I need more Jesus. Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And for you, Amy?
Well, I had been to multiple Christian counselors and I had lots of therapy, but like he said, it wasn't working anymore. So I just happened upon your program, and when we had our call, you probably remember I was a mess, but I know Holy Spirit told me that this was my answer. And so I was nervous about signing up, but I did, and it was a success, and I'll never, ever regret 1 minute of going through with achieving emotional mastery, because that was my life changer. Absolutely.
It's good. I love that. I love that. That's good. Would you guys paint just a little bit of a picture of like what kinds of things you're dealing with beforehand? So again, you kind of described stress, like it was starting to get worse, but like what were some of the symptoms that you were dealing with? John, I remember for you, insomnia was a big part. It was just difficult to rest and relax. Like what kinds of other things were happening?
Insomnia, little freakouts that I internalized. People around me and my staff and everything like that, they couldn't tell, but I knew what was going on inside of me. And that made it even harder because you're suppressing what wants to come out. Okay. So yeah, that was rough.
And what kinds of things have you done to try to manage those things?
Oh, I've tried exercising, which helps. I've tried changing my diet. That helped. And I've tried, and I try, and I continue to try to strengthen my relationship with the Lord, and that's definitely helped.
Like that's definitely helped.
Well, yeah, now I feel like somebody's got my back.
Yeah, that's fun. I feel like, and not to negate any of those things, like those are all good things for management, right? And then we were going to take that whole thing up to a whole different level. So, okay, great. Just wanted to kind of hear, especially because I hear many times, like, I've tried everything. And it's like, many times you've tried a whole lot of things. It is true.
Oh,
it is true.
Absolutely. I got to the point where I said, if somebody told me to sit down and eat a bowl of dirt and that I'd feel better, I would eat the bowl of dirt.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, we do not eat dirt at Achieve Emotional Mastery. That is not part of the process. Spoilers. Nice. Thank you for that, John. And for you, Amy, what kind of problems were you dealing with before?
I was kind of like John. I could deal with things at work without exposing myself. But at home, the minute I got home, if Bunk said anything that would set me over the edge, I would just freak out and cry and scream and throw a fit and just major freak out. And I couldn't sleep, and I was gaining weight because I was eating everything I could get my hands on, and I was on multiple antidepressants and anti-anxiety and things to sleep and the works.
Yeah. Wow.
But it didn't work.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you. And so now that peace is normal, joy is back for both of you, very emotionally stable, handling your careers well. Like now there's a whole new level of what you both are able to handle. So what would you say, like, what else has changed? Like, what else? How is this side so much better now?
I haven't had a meltdown in months.
Yeah. Beautiful. That's a huge thing. That's
absolutely
a huge thing.
Yes.
It kind of sounds minor. It sounds like reporting, but I was like, that's big. That's awesome.
It is big.
Good. I mean, again, sometimes I wish I could show the footage of our first conversation. But like visibly, you look so much different from our first conversation. You said it earlier. You said you were a little bit of a mess when we first spoke. This was an accurate description. Yeah. You were holding the pieces together, but just barely. And now you look so much better. Like you can see the peace and the joy that you feel now. It's beautiful.
People tell me they see the difference.
That's good. How has it changed for you, like in the way that you show up in nursing, ministry? Like how else has this affected your life?
I can do my job at work and not, when things come my way, I don't stress. I do still have stress, of course. Everybody has stress from time to time, but not to the point I had before. Because before, the least little thing and it would rock my world. I couldn't think straight and I couldn't problem solve. And now I do all those things with relative ease. There are days that are different than others. I mean, everything's not perfect. It's not a perfect world, but things are so much better. I can think clear. I was very forgetful before. Couldn't remember names, couldn't remember events, couldn't remember what to do. At times I would just go, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. And I don't struggle with that anymore. Thank you, Lord. So
love that. Thinking more clearly, remembering things. It's big, especially again in career, on both sides, career and ministry. And remembering names is an important skill in ministry. Yeah. It really is. Yes. Nice. Okay, great. What would you say for your marriage? Like, how has this changed your relationship with Bunk?
Oh, so much better. We laugh. Bunk has been so happy to hear me laugh again, because I hadn't laughed he couldn't remember the last time he heard me laugh. And now we laugh together, and we laugh, I laugh at silly things that I wouldn't have even thought about laughing at before, because I would usually cry. So, but our home is very peaceful. It's very calm. And, we do things together. We enjoy being together. And I can't say that I was enjoying it before. So it wasn't very fun.
I like that. Yeah. Good. Thank you for sharing that, Amy. That's all beautiful. Absolutely. Yes. John, for you, how has this made things better? How has this changed? How has this impacted your life now?
Well, I'm able to interact with other humans at a high level again, which is a very, very important part of my job. Things at home it's like night and day, there's joy in my house again, where before there was no joy. There was a joyless household. And now Rosa and we've grown closer together. We do more things together. We go out bike riding. We go walking. We do all sorts of family activities now. And none of that stuff was taking place when I was having my trouble. So.
Wow. That's good. That's beautiful. I appreciate the distinction, because one of the things I notice as I have conversations with couples is a lot of the conversations you have beforehand are about, this sucks and what are we going to do? And it's just like you're beating your head against the wall, but it's consuming. It becomes very consuming. So I love it. It's like, hey, we're living. You're living again. That's what you just described. This is beautiful. Like, what was it like to work with Rosa through this process?
Well, when it began, it was like, come on, you got to be strong. You got to have to stiff upper lip. And I says, I'm waking up in the morning and I'm getting myself to work. I'm strong because you don't know how I feel. And I'm still doing this. So since she's never suffered from any mental disorder or anything like that, she didn't get it. When she heard the folks in the group talk and basically say the same things that I did about how we were feeling, it legitimized it in her mind. And that was a big deal for me. It says, okay, now I don't have to convince her that, I'm faking this or that. You know what I mean? Yeah,
absolutely. It's a good point, because I think sometimes on the outside looking in, it's like, why can't you just be tougher or stronger, shake it off? Or it's like, man, if we could, we would, right? If you could just decide to put on the happy face and shift into joy and peace just like that, we would have already done that. It just doesn't work that way. Okay. Wow. Great. For you, Amy?
Well, I think being part of the group and having your spouse with you, it helps them to see, just like he was saying pretty much, but he felt so helpless to help me. And so being able to be coached also, even though he wasn't the one that actually had the issues, I think that's amazing, because in most things that you do to help yourself, you don't have that help. And so when you include the spouse and explain to them what's going on and how to help your significant other, it makes a world of difference. And then they don't feel as helpless. And if they have questions, they have problems dealing with you, then they can they can reach out and get help also. So it's a team thing. And
it's a team thing.
Hearing the other people on the line when we had our calls, that was amazing to me too, because sometimes you feel like you're all alone and you're the crazy one. And that's not true at all. There's so many people out there just like you going through the same issues, and it makes you feel better to know you're not all alone. It was amazing to have other people going through it too at the same time. That's very important, because I've always just had personal counseling, and this was amazing to have other people. You felt like you had friends that knew what you were talking about. They understood, and you having had it also, you understood what we were trying to say and what it was just amazing.
It's good. Thank you. What else stands out to you about how this is different from other approaches you've tried?
Well, treating the whole body and treating the spiritual side, even when you go through Christian counseling, you don't always get the spiritual growth that you get in this program, emotional mastery. And it's treating your body by the way the things that you eat and that sort of thing makes a huge difference. Also, I'd never heard of some of the things that you taught us, and it has made such a huge difference in our lives, in Bunk's life and in my life. So treating the whole body is, you can't just treat the mind. You have to treat the whole body, spiritually, physically, and mentally. Makes a huge difference.
I love how you said that. I love what a huge compliment. I like, Amy, you've been in the ministry side of things. I mean, your biblical knowledge is not shoddy. And so to say that on the spiritual growth thing, what a compliment. Like I take that as a huge compliment. And I'm always amazed at the spiritual growth part of this process. Just over and over again. It is beautiful. But I think you hit it right on the head, right? Unless we do all three, we just keep going round and around. And if you don't, it doesn't work. And that's why it's like, man, if you will not heal, if you don't break it down to heal emotion physically, it doesn't work. It's like you can get a little better, but like how can you heal? Like how can you heal if you don't heal emotionally, physically, and spiritually? Like it's just not possible. And as far as I know, I think we're the only one that's going, hey, you need to do all these three, and here's exactly how. So like I teach you everything you need to know. I just lay it out for you. I teach you everything step by step. Let's do the thing. It's good. Good. Great. Thank you guys.
It feels like you go through it with us. I mean, you do it over again every time you're with us. You're doing it over again. And so it's not like you're not feeling what we're feeling too. You know how to help us. And it's just amazing.
Must be very rewarding.
Yes, I can imagine.
No, seriously.
It is. No, seriously, it is.
Yes.
It really is. And you guys know why I fight for you. I remember what it's like. I remember what it's like to be told you're not going to heal. You just have to manage it. I remember the frustration of doing all the things you're supposed to do, right? All those things that you're told you're supposed to do, and over and over. And I know you guys are the same, like, I'm doing those things. I'm praying. I'm reading the Bible. I'm praying some more. I'm going to the counselor. I'm taking the medications. I'm doing all the things I'm supposed to do. But here I am still managing the mess. There's got to be more. Like the Bible is clear. There's got to be more. How do I get over there? And it is rewarding to me to go, not only am I walking in freedom, but to see you guys over and over and over again, to be like, I'm there. I'm different now. I'm different now. So let me kind of preface where we're at for you guys now. So Amy, it's been about, at the time of our recording here, about 11 weeks since you graduated from Achieve Emotional Mastery. And John, for you, about 10 months since you graduated, which I just want to put in there, that little nugget, so you can see both ends of the spectrum. Many times, like as you have something new, it's like, oh, yay. And I really want to be able to show that the strategy is solid.
Absolutely.
And it lasts.
Look, 10 months later, I feel amazing. I really do.
10 months later, you feel amazing.
I do.
Good. I love it. Lasting results. So both ends of the spectrum. So going back in time, you guys, right, found me online. Like, ooh, okay, this is different. This is new. What would you, now that you guys know, obviously it works amazingly well for you. What would you say to yourself back then to encourage yourself to step up? John, I'm going to start with you.
Well, as soon as your video came up, your masterclass came up, I saw it on YouTube. I usually just skip those things immediately. But for some reason I didn't, and I listened and I kept listening and I kept listening, and I actually ended up watching the whole thing. And after having done that, and then after having reached out to you as a result, I just felt that was the Holy Spirit putting me on the right path, showing me what I needed to see when I needed to see it. And nobody could ever convince me any different.
It's beautiful. I love that. Like, there was like no doubt for you, just like that easy. That's good.
You need to hear this right now. And that's what happened.
That's good. That's good. I think that's unusual. I think you are a rare, like, I think that's unusual, but I love it. I love to share that. So, obviously no regrets, but what would you say to others that are watching going, is this thing real? Did she pay these people? She should have paid them more, You're not hired actors. So what would you say to someone else that's watching, like, man, will this work for me?
Well, all I can say is it definitely worked for me. And it was exactly what I needed when I needed it. And so I would totally advocate for it. If you're suffering from anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, this is definitely something to take a look at.
Amy, for you, like, looking back, what would you say to yourself back then to encourage yourself to step up?
I wish I'd found you earlier, but I know that I'm like John. I feel like the Holy Spirit led me to you. And I'm thankful that you're tough, because there's times when you don't feel like doing the work. But if you don't do the work, it doesn't work. You have to do the work. And so, you make us commit to, you encourage us to commit to being coachable and accepting your advice. And if you're not willing to give 100%, you're not going to get well. You have to do it. You have to be committed, and you have to not stop. And I'm glad that you were tough, because if you hadn't been, I probably would have given up, honestly, but
in the most loving way.
yes, no doubt. But
Sean, don't give me that face.
Yes, you're very loving
and support in the most loving way. But it is true. If you don't show up to do the work, it's not going to work. You don't quit now, right? It's worth it in the end. The freedom is worth it in the end.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. It's funny. Great. Okay, awesome. I want to thank you guys both again for your time. As you both have hinted to or stated, you've got to show up for yourself. You've got to do the work, and you both did. You both have been so incredibly coachable, listened, been vulnerable with us throughout the process. And so I want to just thank you both for the work that you've put in. And it's just been an honor to serve you and to love you through the process, to walk with you guys. And I'm so proud of your transformation and just what you both have accomplished in your own life, what it's meant for your family, what it's meant for your career, all these places that it has touched. And so thank you guys. Thank you so much for allowing me to love on you through the process and walk with you. It's my pleasure.
Yes.
Least I could do after everything you did for me and my family.
Yes.
Thank you, John.
Thank you so much.
Very welcome. Thank you, guys. Anything either of you would like to add?
If anybody is on the fence on this, I'm telling them this is something you should definitely take a good, long, hard look at, because it works. If you put in the work, it works. And I hadn't found that formula before. So if you're on the fence, look at it.
Thank you, John. That's good.
Yes, it's worth every effort you put into it. It's worth every tear that you cry. It's worth every minute you spend in this. It's worth it. And it's the most important thing is that you have the tools for life. So you never have to worry about, well, maybe I forgot what I was supposed to do, because the tools are there. You have it forever. So as long as the computer works is what you
That's
told
right.
me.
Until the internet falls
works,
down.
I have
That's
it.
right. That's correct. I love that. Thank you for adding that, Amy. That's good. That's good. Oh, thank you guys so much. I so appreciate hanging out with you. Again, just celebrating your journey. So many good nuggets, man, in here. Again, just so proud of you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good. All right. Yeah.